So both countries have supplied the regime with those people. Furthermore, at international forums such as the Human Rights Council, it is always the United States and the United Kingdom who have stood up to support the Al Khalifa, while other governments, the Scandinavian governments, Denmark, Sweden, and Germany, would sometimes put the odd question here and there, criticizing the regime or implicitly criticizing the human rights abuses. But London and Washington will never do that. They are our allies, and we have to stand by them, even if they kill, even if they maim, even if they arrest the four most prominent human rights activists in Bahrain today. The four most prominent figures: Nabil Rajab, Abdul Hadi Khawaja, Zainab Khawaja, Dr. Abdul Jalil Singais. These four people have been in jail, and you will never hear one word from Washington or London, who both have met these people, or at least some of them, in the past few years, and they had engaged in dialogue with them. But when they were arrested, they did not raise an eyebrow. Of course, the regime has or is supposed to have ratified or signed the CAT, the Convention Against Torture, in 1998. But since then, how many people were killed? How many people were tortured? Including the admission by the independent commission headed by Bassiouni and financed by the regime. It has proved without any doubt that systematic torture had been implemented, and that extrajudicial killing was also administered. So I don't know how could this civilized world, accept and agree to allow such regime to exist. And on Monday we expect some voices who will come and shore up the regime and support it, despite the cries and the pains of the victims that are numerous, and they are not stopping at any limit to repress the people of Bahrain.
And it's ironic that the UN has actually prided itself, Saad al-Shaabi, to come up with this universal periodic review, as if that's going to make things better. Kamal Wazni, let's talk about this annexing of Bahrain, this merger with Saudi Arabia. Still trying to figure out the motives behind what Saudi Arabia wants to create here. What is it doing exactly? Does it want to protect Bahrain? Does it show that Bahrain's rulers have failed in dealing with the people of Bahrain? Or is it a way to say, you know what, I've been exercising rights violations for the past decades, the Kingdom of Saud. The UN hasn't done anything. Let's put Bahrain under my wings, knowing that nothing's going to happen.
Well, let's call it
this is what Kamal Wazni will get to. Go ahead, Kamal Wazni.
I think let's call it a forced occupation by the Saudi. They send their forces. They are participant in the torture and the killing and the rape of the Bahraini people. They're involved in the process of discrimination, and they trying to bail the system of Bahrain, the failed system of Bahrain. I think the Saudi are a participant in the crime against humanity that is taking place in Bahrain. And here they try to impose their will on the Bahraini people. They wanted to annex Bahrain and make it part of Saudi Arabia against the will of the people. Fine, if they think this is the way, they should put a referendum to the people of Bahrain. And yesterday we show what the Bahraini really want. They're actually not against, they're against the Saudi intervention and the Saudi killing of Bahraini people, and they don't want Saudi to have any influence whatsoever inside Bahrain. If anything the Saudi should do, they should withdraw their forces from Bahrain and let the Bahraini people determine their fate. I think the Saudis know the Bahraini government, the Khalifi government, have been used all their options. They're bankrupt. They will be considered very soon a criminal by the international court, by the human rights. Probably we'll hear something maybe in the coming week. I'm hopeful and doubtful at the same time about what's going to come from the UN. But it's very clear there is a crime against humanity is being committed by the Bahraini government and the Khalifa family and the Saudis. So my actually recommendation to the council that can meet on Monday, don't look at the Bahraini government, look at the Saudis, because the Saudis are running the show, are running the torture, are running the destruction of mosques inside Bahrain, are running the process of discrimination. That's really what the Saudi are doing. So today the world should be very careful about how they should look at a process to end this occupation of the Saudi, and the Saudi should not think about the issue of building a federalist with Bahrain, because this is unaccepted by the people of Bahrain, and we saw the thousands and hundreds of thousands on the street saying no to Saudi Arabia. This will not pass.
Right. James Fetzer, the Crown Prince of Bahrain was in the United States recently. He was received by Hillary Clinton. I don't know if you saw any footage of how Hillary Clinton received the Crown Prince, so much so that it looked like he was surprised by the warm reception. You had the Formula One race, the Bahrain Grand Prix. You have the King attending the Diamond Jubilee luncheon in the UK. All acts that, in a sense, legitimize the regime there. Why is it that these keep occurring? What is it that makes them have action to legitimize the Bahraini regime?
Well, it's disgraceful behavior, whether it's on behalf of the United States or the United Kingdom. These atrocities are something, however, that never have really bothered American foreign policy in the past. The fact that Bush and Cheney took the United States out of the International Criminal Court to keep themselves free and immune from its actions has now been reversed by Barack Obama, so that there actually is the potential that illegal arms sales, such as those you mentioned previously, might potentially be prosecuted by the International Criminal Court. I believe that the idea of a Saudi merge with Bahrain is to provide a pseudo-justification for the use of Saudi forces against Bahrainian people as a part and parcel of this brutal crackdown, just as the invocation of Article 5 of the NATO Charter was invoked by Bush and Cheney to justify the invasion of Afghanistan, which began on October 7th, less than 1 month after 9/11, and which appears to have been motivated by the desire to loot Afghanistan of its vast mineral resources, including iron and copper and gold, and most importantly, lithium, which had been discovered, at least in part, by Russian mining experts during their occupation of Afghanistan, which fell into the hands of the American authorities, and which have no doubt been confirmed by satellite surveillance, where the United States now knows where the major mineral, gas, and oil deposits are located in the world by virtue of that, and are seeking to exploit that information for the benefit of American corporations and their profit margins.
Okay, let's leave it there. Thank you very much. James Fetzer there, philosopher and political commentator from Madison. We appreciate that. Saeed Shabi, the Bahrain Freedom Movement from London, thank you for your statements. And Kamal Wazni, political analyst there from Beirut. And thank you, the viewer, for watching another edition of the Press TV News Analysis. Any comments or suggestions, newsroom at presstv.ir. The old-fashioned way, that's our email address. From me, Kaveh Taghi, and the entire team, it's goodbye.